Criminal defense attorney Anthony Pope is with us today. Anthony, thank you for being here.
Sure.
You have been on both sides of these cases many, many times. Is it fair to consider George a suspect here?
It's not. He's not a suspect at this point. He's a person of interest, clearly. Being the last person to see the victim, or if she's a victim, he certainly causes the authorities to want to speak with him, talk with him, search his home, search his car, but there is no other evidence. I don't see him as a suspect. I see him as a person of interest. What about the last episode where the woman who was so spiritual, okay, who had a child, never happened before, she decided she met somebody in a convenience store and she took off with that person.
And how long did it take to find her? 5 days.
But that's because she was alive and she was well and she wasn't hiding somewhere. But if someone wanted to hide, Lisa, you and I both know, if you stop using your phone, if you don't go to ATMs, if you don't go out and you're with someone in a particular location, no one's going to find you until you decide to surface. It's not a matter of making sense. It's a matter of what other evidence, tangible evidence. Is there a conversation? Is there a text message from him? Is there a piece of evidence in a car or a house? Something that corroborates that he may be a suspect. To condone revenge on any level allows people to take it to this type of conclusion. And that's why it's wrong. Revenge is wrong. We have authorities, we have police, we have a system of justice that has to answer the transgressions or the wrongs that are visited upon people. And we can't teach people on any level that revenge is okay, even if it's a small revenge, a minor revenge, because people will take it to an extreme level, as they did in this case. Here's a situation where a woman knows her husband's being unfaithful to her. She confronts him. He tells her that he's going to change, and then she goes to a hotel and finds him with his paramour at that point. What happens with human beings sometimes, it triggers an emotion in you that's just uncontrollable. And I think that's why the jury gave her a manslaughter conviction rather than murder. He wasn't expecting what he got. You know, that to me is a completely different level. Here you have women that decided in a very premeditated manner that they were going to exert some type of revenge on this man. This situation is much different. This is premeditated. This should be dealt with in a different manner, and the sentence should be more severe. Cheating is something, you know, you're angry at a person, you curse at somebody, you're upset with somebody, but you can't premeditatedly decide that you're going to injure somebody to this level. It can't be condoned. You have to be able to get back, take counsel with yourself, and realize who you are. If they're cheaters and they're not good people, that's a reflection of who they are. It's not a reflection of who you are. And if we start telling people that you can exert revenge to this level, we're going down, as Dr. Phil said, a very slippery slope. Not if I was his lawyer, because I tell you what, I spoke to him and I can't believe what they did to him. First of all, when he was found guilty, the judge gave him a 180-day suspended sentence, which means he was to do no time. So he appealed the conviction, and they make him stay in jail for 10 months. So not only did she exact revenge on him, the system exacted revenge on him. You know, Dr. Phil, you did a great job of cross-examination because, no disrespect, but the woman has no credibility. It was clear from the very beginning that she was not telling the truth. A false police report was filed. She should have been charged with that. She should have gone to jail, not him. This is a clear example of the Domestic Violence Act being used as a sword instead of a shield. And that dilutes the domestic violence statutes, and it should not be tolerated. Okay? This was abused. There's no question about it. I mean, the conduct, I'm sure Eduardo is well-intended, but when you have an anger management problem like that, and you're going to the lengths of punching the walls, and you're using the type of language, and you're getting in someone's face simply because you're not striking her, is not making you immune from arrest and prosecution.
He could be arrested for this.
There's no question about that. It's a pattern of behavior that constitutes domestic violence. There are enumerated statutes under the domestic violence law, and you're breaching a good deal of them. There's no question about it. And I'm surprised at this point that you haven't done any time in jail based on what you've described here today. And if, God forbid, it gets to a point where you really strike her, then you're going to lose your children. You really are. So, you know, forewarned is forearmed, my friend. Because there are going to be some times where automatically when the police come at the door, it doesn't constitute what they believe under the statute, the need to make an arrest. That doesn't mean you shouldn't do it. You need to press charges. Any woman needs to press charges.
And as a prosecutor, how would you proceed with this?
Well, first I want to prosecute the person. As a former prosecutor, I want to prosecute the offense, the underlying offense. I want to get a temporary restraining order. I want to make a determination as to whether or not I think there's imminent threat of harm continuing, thereby warranting a final restraining order. And at that point, the children have to be taken. They have to have sole custody with the mother, and you're going to have supervised visitation. So if you're at a point right now where you could change it, change it. Your problems with her are not domestic violence. They're personality issues. You got to deal with them in another forum. But you can't react from a domestic violence point of view, because that's what you're doing, and you're really risking your life and your limb. If the contract is devoid of any language in which they're entitled to go out there and shop it the way they did, then it's fraud. And I think she should notify the Attorney General's office. Okay, there may be other fraud complaints there. Get them involved. If someone's in their backyard and they want to video people that are out and about, you can do that. If you're taking the video camera and you're peering it into someone's window in their home, that's a different story. And as Chris said, go to court. It's a nuisance case and you got to sue them. I really think you have to have some type of reciprocity be amongst the states. Because here you have a situation where this man keeps on falling through the cracks. And when you are of that mindset, where you just cannot stop it, and you have not gotten the help, the states have to work with each other, and perhaps maybe have even some federal legislation that would address this matter.
Oh, really get it working here. Really get it working. Okay, so this counts down time-wise?
Yeah, right when it gets to 0.
Okay, big breath and blow into it. Keep blowing. How long does you have to blow?
About 5 seconds.
Is that enough?
That is.
Wow. 0.49. Wow. Okay, from Listerine. So you are way over.
That's for sure. Here's a business person with a woman on her wedding day. Okay, her wedding day, the most important day of her life. If that's not a day where your emotions are clouding your judgment, I don't know what day is.
You were crying, weren't you, Tyler? Weren't you crying?
Listen, this is in my state, New Jersey.
Okay,
so I have to tell you.
So what's going on, Anthony?
We have some frivolous lawsuits in New Jersey. But this tops it, I absolutely have to tell you. I happened to see this and read about it. Comedy is comedy. Okay, and although these people may not be public people whereby all bets are off, you could say basically almost anything you want, unless it's really adverse to their career, this is a situation where this woman's been doing it continually, time and time again. These people have been in the audience. They have been there, they've seen her jokes, they're family members. All of a sudden now, to file a lawsuit, there's got to be some ulterior motive. It's not going to survive. There's no question about it.
Publicity for an up-and-coming comedian who no one's ever heard of,
Well,
and now she's on the front page of the local paper.
So she did it. Well, that's fine. You never know. I don't have any information to support that, but I can tell you the lawsuit itself is frivolous, and it's in my state, so I'm not proud of it. The law is it's a sense of fairness. What is fair, and what is the obligation and accountability of people? Someone picked up the dog. That person is entrusted with taking the dog to a particular place to house the dog, to try to determine who the owner of the dog is. So under those circumstances, you have an affirmative obligation to make sure that it's reasonable what you're doing. If you put the dog in a pressure cooker, okay, and it's 104 degrees, I don't think it's very reasonable that you would not think or believe, or it's foreseeable, certainly, that something may happen to the dog. So you just can't simply discard all accountability because it's a dog versus a human being. So the answer to your question is yes. I think you could sue, and the damages are not going to be extraordinary because it is a dog, but you could sue and probably get some type of an award.